bit. So over just the other day, I'm trying to think, was it Friday or Saturday?
I think it
Was
was
it
like
Friday?
Friday or like Saturday early afternoon.
Yeah, I'll say
Early,
Saturday
like
early
no,
afternoon.
no.
It was
Sorry,
like,
like it was like Saturday early in the morning because Japan's on different time. If you're talking about what I'm talking about.
yeah. Oh yeah, okay. I say for us, it should have been at night. It should have been at night. I think it was like early in Japan. But basically, fighting game roundtable, which was pretty much a online. Think of it as like a big Zoom meeting with a bunch of different Japanese fighting game publishers and developers, all in one room, virtually. Uh, just pretty much going over and talking together as a whole, addressing the issues of fighting games, the as a community, which was something that was like, I think in itself it was a lot bigger. The idea of itself was that it even happened was is a really big thing. I think for like, especially in these times, for developers to kind of come together, put aside their business rivalry. Whoa, can't talk. Whatever, you know what I meant to say. Put aside their differences and kind of come together and kind of talk on issues that they all face as a whole. Such publishers, I'll throw a couple out there like Capcom. So we have there's Capcom, Arxis, Arc Systems, Bandai Namco, Arika. They even had Arika, who for the game. Oh my god, I'm blanking out on it.
Fighting EX layer.
Yeah, Finding X Layer. Uh, they even had their team, someone from their team. Who else am I missing from? Because they had Street Fighter. Tekken was represented.
Arc System
Uh,
was there. Bandai Namco.
which yeah, they make
Um,
a chunk of the games. Pretty much, people that represented a lot of Soul Calibur. So if you're into Soul Calibur 6, Tekken 7, any of Arx's games, ranging from Guilty Gear to Blaze Blue Cross Tag to Dragon Ball Fighters, of course Street Fighter. Basically, all the devs were there. One of the big topics that was brought to the table, just to go right into it, was online play, because this is what basically the community is talking a lot about right now. Is they took time. It was about 2.5 hours, the whole event. They put a lot. They spent the first half of the event answering questions, and a lot of them, because there were questions from users, different like Twitter, uh, basically the public. So, and anyone who wants to talk anything related to fighting games with the devs, and you have a chance to, they're going to bring up online gameplay, online connection, basically netcode. And it wasn't. I don't think it was. It wasn't pretty. I would say, just to give you my 2 cents real quick. Um, for that for that portion of the stream, like I went back, digged up, look at the archives. For that portion of the stream, when it came to netcode, Harada, for those who don't know, is the director who's the director for Tekken under with Bandai Namco. He did a lot of the talking. He did a lot of pretty much being the figure, like the spokesman for like all the devs almost. Like I think he was willing to take a lot of the punches and throw it like for the devs when it came to I say defending themselves about reasons about why netcode isn't where it needs to be or why isn't where it's supposed to be. Because it feels like time and time again, netcode is always brought to the table and discussed or talked about for fighting games as being a real pivotal make or deal breaker basically for a fighting game, and basically how the community will react. And I don't know. It sounds like we as a whole, when I was at least I was watching, I learned some things about the process into designing fighting games around netcode, from the devs perspective. Like issues when it came to budgeting. Like Harada wanted to say, he's like, people don't want to say it, but we have budgets. Like, you know, he's like, budgeting is one thing. He said, some people say it's expensive. Things like basically if the other companies that they're working with when it comes to like third party companies that come into play, you know, is it compatible with them? You know, is there issues with running with them? Blah blah blah. List goes on. Now we pretty much, I say, want to start there because that's pretty much where the conversation was divided when they brought up this event. So pretty much, let's start about netcode. Did you peep? So you peep what they said about netcode, Zach?
No, I didn't.
Well, basically, like I just said, um, the devs, you know, on behalf of Harada, a lot of it was saying like, you know, it's something we look at. We definitely want to look more into. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't want to chop it up to see like it sounded like they were kind of ducking, making excuses, because that's what it did sound like. Actually, that's some people in the community. When you look when after the fact, people in the FTC when they commented on the fact that they really didn't. It feels like it's something that they haven't really seriously taken into account for the longest, and I think people they really just like had enough because they're like, there's really no excuses you can make, especially in this time, especially in times like these. Netcode's real is basically a deal breaker. Like you have the devs who they'll say like, yeah, we notice how good a game will do over time, pending on the netcode, and we'll see like over time, despite how the games launch, how good the games launch is, we'll see a decrease over time in players and player base because of like depending on the online play, like the netcode. Like they'll say all these things, but not really propose like solutions to the netcode. Even when like rollback netcode's been thrown around like constantly. Um, yeah, pretty much, man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, especially for Americans, like netcode is so important because we are like a million times bigger than Japan, and arcades aren't as dominant as they are there. They have more of like the in-person social interaction. Where with us, we're an internet dominated like society where you know niggas just can't get up in Montana and then go to their local arcade and get like meaningful matches. You know what I'm saying? Like
Facts, yo. Like
not everywhere has arcades. Arcades are
we
dying.
wish, nah.
Arcades are dying because of the it's like goddamn
Goddamn C virus.
nah, because it's just internet online play. Well,
Yeah,
not even just that too, but like since the console released, like like niggas like, yo, why am I gonna keep dropping quarters to go to this arcade where I could just buy Street Fighter 2 on my Super Nintendo? Like, so like we're different in a sense where like net play is a bigger deal to us. Like it's not like arcade cabinets are dropping in America like that. Like the only place you'll find an arcade cabinet, if that, like mainstream wise, it's like your Dave and Buster's and stuff like that. And they're not putting fighting games in there. Like,
and even if you do, you'll see some like you might find like a gem, you might find like a retro fighting game, but like you like point to you no to your point, yeah, it'll be like a retro fighting game. Whereas in like Japan, like they'll announce like new fighting games or new games coming out and the date release of the arcade machine for their arcades.
yeah,
Like
they test new games in their arcades and stuff.
yeah, like they use the arcades to actually test and drop things. Whereas like in the States, arcades are like more like vintage, you know? They're like when you if you go into an arcade or you see like an arcade cabinet or somewhere, like whether it's your laundromat or you go to Dave and Buster's, well, granted, Dave and Buster's they might have like more newer arcades, but chances are anywhere else it's gonna be something old. You might find like it'll be like Pac-Man, it'll be like fucking some pinball machine. Like it'll just be a lot of older, more retro games because that's like how America views arcades. Like arcades to us is a pastime, where Japan is present. It's still a present time thing. Um, so I think definitely a cultural barrier is kind of big. I think it's been a issue a lot. I mean, over the years, but now it's like more gaping. It's more noticeable. Like even like Ed Boon, who works for like Mortal Kombat, uh, even like on Twitter, he made a comment like after the roundtable, like around the time everyone was discussing the roundtable, and even he chimed in and he was saying like, like in honesty, he was just like netcode and net play when fighting games are a really important thing. Like I don't even want to mince his words. Like I really let me see. Let's pull up his Twitter. And I'm just pulling up here. Yeah, rollback code is tough but necessary in fighting games. Like he said that like he brought it in, 31st. Yeah, he brought this the other day. So it was around the time the roundtable happened. And he was even saying, like, even went on to say, like, the Neverell tech team did an amazing job at putting rollback code in Mortal Kombat XL, made all the difference in the world. So rollback code, again, he said it's tough, but it's necessary in fighting games. Like I feel like here, as like Ed Boon, like Mortal Kombat being under Warner Brothers right now, under an American company, like we say something, like it's not gonna. Eventually, he's like, I get it. Like he heard us. Like I think like especially Mortal Kombat, we always talk about as a fighting game, listens to the community, and he took it into consideration, and I think boom, people express like is better for it. And I think I think that's a disconnect with Japan. They hear us, but there's the cultural like disconnect where it's like there's a cultural disconnect, really. And people honestly feel as though like for them to wake up, like they have to learn the hard way of investing in their netcode. And people think it's gonna happen with like things like Project L, like the riot fighting game, and for them to like to put them on their asses and really be like, yo, like you're really about to let a mobile company like really take fighting games out from underneath us. I don't know. You give me your thoughts. I do want to get back into the roundtable overall. But netcode was pretty much a big chunk of their first hour of talking. And
Well, so to that point, like with the netcode, we had the Street Fighter thing where like, someone on their own did a patch that helped improve the netcode. And then Arika came out and said that they're rolling out rollback netcode for fighting EX layer. So not that it can't be done. Sure, it may be a bit expensive, but games like Street Fighter, which is supposed to be like the premier fighting game to most people, have no excuse. Like you're selling so much money on like costumes and all this other stuff like that, but you can't put any money towards the budget towards the netcode. But you can put out more characters, but you can't improve the online experience.
yep. And that's what now's the thing too, that was a lot. People was like, because the other thing, right? So I'll just round off what the stream was like. Because like I said, the other half of the stream, I wouldn't say other half, I'll say the last like 40 minutes, I would say give or take like 30, like around like 40 minutes. You have the stream. Then you had announcements, and a lot of the announcements were just announcements for announcements. Like
Yeah, like
companies
Street
really did
Fighter.
not have things ready.
So Street Fighter announced they have an event on the 5th. Somebody else did too.
Uh,
Um,
I
announced
wonder
that
if it's
they
the
have
Bandai
announced.
Namco if their online tournaments
Yeah,
for Tekken.
I mean the only one honestly that like pointed in a direction of like all right of improving is Fighting Layer EX or Fighting EX Layer. I like calling it Flex better than Fexel, but they said that they're going to do the rollback netcode. You know, they're implementing that, and then they're working on like crossplay between like PC and PS4. Everybody else is just like either their tournament series, like Arc Revo is going online for US and Japan, and a few people announced like new more season passes like Tekken season 4,
Hmm.
Sam Show season 3, Soul Calibur announced that they're releasing another character or whatever. But
Oh yeah, Setsuka. I can remember
yeah,
her name from like older games. Yeah, people are really excited about that. So shout out to the Soul Calibur community.
but
If,
I think the important thing about the whole thing is really the netcode. Because I mean, like, you know, how do you intend to run these online tournaments in the foreseeable future if your netcode is trash?
yep, yep. That was no, like I said, that was in there.
And it's
Take it.
not like Nintendo where they're like, Nintendo's not putting any investment into their online, the competitive scene for Smash. So like bad netcode is just it's whatever with Smash. We just have to accept it. But someone like Street Fighter that you know, Capcom, Tekken, all these other developers who are making the investment into the tournament scene, and with COVID-19 going on, they need to make the investment into the netcode.
Nah, real rap. It's just a really, it was just a weird conversation to see that was taking place. One because it was being translated by like Jayuna and like it was like another like I guess he was like a Tekken player, someone from the Tekken community. So it was like two translators, and I feel like, and that's the thing too. It's like I want to hear not a thing I'm a fan of because I know people when they're translating they gotta be courteous and whatnot and real considerate. So I feel like there was a lot of like shortchanging of what the devs were talking about or what they were saying. Um, and I don't know. I want to see what more direct translations were like because they were just like, oh well, this is so they're like generally they were like generalizing a lot because
Yeah,
they're like, oh, basically, what this person was saying, or they're like, oh, more or less, this is what they were saying, like, and I know what their job is to translate, commentate, and also maybe keep the peace and not make the others look bad. Um, but I think in these times, like you're talking to people who's been supporting these communities, these companies for years and for a long time, and when it comes to netcode, that's the one thing we've been asking for years. Since like we want a good netcode since like Street Fighter 4, you know? Like Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 was like what, 06, 08, like when 4 first, for 4, Street Fighter 4's inception. Do I
yeah,
want to get the exact date?
not,
So, and I mean, and they try to say money was an issue, and like I know Horizon, like, oh, we have budgets and whatnot, and then it's just like people was like, nah, that's not an excuse. Like them fighting herds. What do you think their budgets are like compared to yours? And they implemented rollback netcode. Like there isn't an excuse. People, yeah, a lot of the FGC they weren't having it. Like their comments after the fact are like, one, I don't know how to feel about this whole stream as a whole because like I said, it was like first half was discussion, answering questions, which was like ran by Harada. He kind of took the forefront on that, because he's a little westernized. So I feel like he was like he has the balance um, to kind of uh, voice people's concerns from the devs that they themselves may not even feel comfortable saying, or he's like speaking on their behalf. And also the fact that he understands more like the West, like people from America, people in the States. He understands that he's been out here a lot. Um, Although I still think that they're not hearing or not fully uh, understanding the fact that we just want rollback netcode. Like netcode is going to keep us playing your games. Like that's really what it is. Like I mean, DLC, all this other stuff, all you want, but if the connection is trash, like it's trash. Like people are, like you said yourselves, are going to eventually leave the game, leave the scene, leave the community, and just like stop playing the game. Like because of connection, it has happened, it still happens, and it will continue happening. And I think even past that, right? And then we go into the announcements. Some people were like, the announcements were soft. Like, what are you?
Yeah,
Did
those
you?
announcements weren't anything crazy, to be honest. Like, I read the
Yeah,
recap and I was like, eh. Like, the only thing I got excited for was Arika, because I actually want to get the game. And I feel like with them having rollback netcode, it would make me want to play it.
even more.
Oh, also, with Arc Revo, because I'm still pretty good at BB Tag, but I've been watching a bit of Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and I kind of want to get that too.
Oh, word! I have. I mean, we could parsec it up, and then yeah, I could just put it on for people. I know other people. Karma. I think Karma wanted to try it, wanted to play it as well. Yeah, if you want to try the game, Parsec, I got you on the
Got the
copy.
DLC?
Huh? Yeah, I got first season DLC. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I'm gonna be a Jita main.
Who?
Jita?
Oh, my girl, Cheetah. Oh yeah, yeah. I see you as a Jeter player. I can see that. Actually, I really could see that. Wow. Yeah. Wow. And she's
Yeah,
so good too.
I've been watching
Damn.
people play on Next Level, and I was like, I kind of like how she plays. There was somebody else that like played too. It's like I think she was also DLC. It's this chick that had like a dragon with her.
Oh, yeah. Zoe.
Yeah,
That's yeah. I played when I was playing. I played a lot of Zoe. That was the character I was going with. I was playing Sora's, but Sora's is like the Balrog, but he's not that good. But yeah, once Zoe came, I was like, yeah, I found my character. But pretty much, right? Great games, ask netcode. Um, that's pretty much what everyone's gripes are. And with the announcements, right? Like I think this roundtable, it felt like it was amped up to be something, and it fell flat a little bit. It really did fell flat for me. Um, as I was going through, like I went back, watched the stream, and then eventually I was just found myself skipping because a lot of what they were talking about, yeah, it was cool, but it was just like again, they really were only mostly just talking about like a lot about online, just about online play because with them not being tournaments right now, and I heard a lot of the same, and I just don't think it. I don't think it should fly. Like, it really, I don't think that should fly. One, that's the one thing for their like kind of do like their AMA portion of the stream. And then for the announcements, like okay, like Setsuka for Soul Calibur, that's cool. So you know what? That's cool. I mean, the online tournaments, I feel like that was something we were going to hear about regardless. Like, I think I'm like, cool. Like, I don't think they needed that type of stream for that.
yeah.
Um,
I find it weird that they announced online tournaments after having like you know such a heavily like widely panned conversation about netcode. Oh, it's
right.
expensive to put in rollback netcode, but here's all these online tournaments we're gonna run.
We're going to run
It seemed really tone deaf.
on the same internet. Yeah, that's what people are saying. Like, they're not hearing us. They want to announce tournaments on the same net code that they currently have that we hate. And we're telling them Just improve the net code and we'll be happy.
Yeah.
Improve the net code and we'll be happy.
So that was a little tone deaf, I felt like.
Yeah, and I just want to round off the other things about like basically the trailers and other announcements they made. Like, I just thought it was weird. Like DBZ, like for Arxis, like Tomiko, I'm trying to think, no, Hamiko, um, the director for that game, she wasn't even there, and like a lot of the things that kept circulating throughout the stream was like it was kind of last minute. Like the event was put together kind of last minute, and not a lot of companies had like things put together in time. So that's why some announcements were just announcements for later streams. Like Street Fighter is gonna have a stream in August, like next week. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like next Friday where they're gonna actually show characters. They're gonna actually talk about season 5 and actually make actual announcements. To me, it was like, okay, like I honestly, and then like other companies did that too. Like DBZ, they had one. Like I said, it was like Hamiko, and they even said like, you know, they didn't have anything ready, but there's something in August, and she couldn't make it because this quarantine's been rough on everybody, and she like gained weight, and she's not ready to go on camera. And like I was just like, what is going on in this stream? Like this person, like one of the devs were just airing out all her dirty laundry. Right. I don't know like I thought with Japanese customs, but like shoot, she was just airing it all out. And he was about her. And I was just like, yo, if they really weren't ready, if a lot of people really weren't ready and they really want that many announcements, like, come on. There was only a trailer for Guilty Gear Strive. They showed Leo and the new character that's coming into the game. Um, bro, besides that and the Setsuka, like those are the real trailers, really. Like the Tekken trailer, I guess it was like season 4 announcement, but I mean, it was a season 4 announcement, nothing about characters or whatnot, and like implementations that they're adding to the game. I think overall, I think this event people were really expecting a lot, but didn't come out. They came out with less than what they expected. I think. I think it was dope that they did this to begin with. Uh, Now we kind of know where their thoughts are, like with the devs, for for Capcom, for Arc System and whatnot. But I think there's just conversations that just fell on deaf ears. Like there's just still like netcode. That's still gonna be an issue. Like I know I think that's still gonna be an issue. Um, the announcement they made, it could have been Twitter posts. It could have been like tune in August 5th when we have this stream. They use the stream to announce another stream. I don't know. I feel like the idea on paper, the roundtable sounded really, really dope. I thought we were really gonna get something really, really crazy out of it. But not really. I know devs were like, I want to do this again. Um, my advice I would say is like I wouldn't do this again unless you guys really had something to present. I mean, I feel like you guys all came together and like King of Fighters didn't have anything for King of Fighters 15. Like they only had like, oh, the team's been working. They unfortunately they weren't able to get something by this time. And then overall it feels like the idea on paper seemed really good, but it looked like they did not, according to them, they weren't fully prepared or it wasn't like thoroughly planned out, which is like, I don't think they should have just held off on in the first place.
Yeah.
I think that's my 2 cents on it all.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again, we'll wait to see. I'm not like particularly like, you know, blown away by what I saw or anything. So um, we'll just move on.
I know. I think at this point, it's conversations we already know about that we beat up. And yeah, I guess we just in August, like in a week from now, when there's more streams, we'll keep you guys posted on those updates. So yeah, tune in for that. Street Fighter is having something around August 5th, August 6th. There's something also for DBZ as well. They're gonna also have more updates. Yeah, we'll keep you guys posted on on those streams and whatnot when they come about. But let's get into music to kind of wrap things up. I know we did